give them a proper introduction. We got Pastor Cornelious D,
Hello.
the second, okay,
Yeah.
of the Abundant
Yes.
Love Christian Center. Love that. And the lady next to him in pink looking fabulous. She's always matching. I tell you, she's just looking good. We have Pastor Dr. Yolanda Carroll, also of the Abundant Love Christian Center. They love each other. They love everybody. We are co-pastors, and I am so glad to have you. So welcome back to the Dr. Don Radio Show.
Well,
Thank you,
so
Dr.
much.
Don.
Thank you for having us on tonight.
I
Really
tell
glad to be
you,
here.
and we want to thank Carnisha, who is the coordinator of the world, right?
Right.
She's on top of it, honey. So
Yeah.
shout out to her for just coordinating everything. But brothers and sisters, if you do have a question like you did last week for our seasoned couple, kingdom couple, put the questions in or put your comments in, and we'll be glad to answer those. Now, let's just kick this off. Tell us how long you've been married, your experience helping engage married couples, all that good stuff, so people know you have credibility.
Well, I'm always excited to tell people that we've been married 43 years, 7 months, and 23 days.
Hey,
And,
I love it.
I do that because every day of our marriage matters, and every day that we put effort into the relationship matters. So, we shouldn't, as couples, take a day off from being married or from trying to please our mate. But anyway, that's a whole nother.
No, that's good. You can't take a vacation,
right,
from marriage.
But we've been working with couples for over 20 years, about 21 years, and we are just grateful and thankful that we have a chance to do that. And we feel like this is one of the more important things that we get a chance to do, is to pour into marriages, because obviously it's a foundation that God wants to use. So we are grateful to be a part of that.
And I'm glad you said that. You Dr. Yolanda?
Yes, I'm sorry, say it again.
No, you now, Dr. Yolanda?
Okay, yes. One of the things you asked also is our experience in supporting engaged and married couples.
Yes.
One of the things that we do on a regular basis is that we offer marriage coaching and empowerment. Yes. And actually, we do everything from an assessment to identifying your growths and strengths in your relationship, and kind of go through that completely with a couple before they make that step for their forever life. And of course, we did something fun this week. Even on Valentine's Day, we had the opportunity of marrying a couple.
All right.
In the more seasoned couples, 50 years old.
Yes.
We had to do that even on this past Valentine's Day. So,
wow.
So that was a treat for us.
That's beautiful. Everybody isn't called to get married at 20.
Right.
30, right? I love that. I love that. Love that. Oh, wow. On Valentine's Day. That's wonderful.
Right.
Wonderful. And they were over 50?
Yes. Okay. Both of them. Beautiful couple. Actually, they knew them. And that's something that's important to couples that are dating or looking to find their forever person. Sometimes that person has been there all along. This particular couple, they kind of grew up in the same area. They had some of the same acquaintances, but didn't know each other personally. Okay. And so they went on, they lived their lives, basically came back together at a chance meeting at work. And began to have some things in common, and it grew into a great relationship in a very short time. And lived a little over a year. They knew that they were right for each other.
Now I'm about to make a little joke. Met him at work. He wasn't at Mama's couch, right? He was at work. I'm just gonna say that, and that's my. I know. I mean, come on. Let's talk about it.
He had a whole job. He had a whole job with insurance and savings account.
That's but man. Now let's talk about. I love the word assessment. Let's talk about what the assessment looks like when you are. And that wasn't even one of my questions, but talk about what the assessment looks like, you guys.
Well, you want to go over it a little
basically,
bit?
we use an assessment that basically asks each of the participants in the couple the same questions, but they answer them separately and apart from one another.
Oh, I love that.
We use a group that we'll call it assesses the assessment, and then they send back information that lets us know the strength and growth areas in the relationship. So when we premarital coaching with them, we'll focus on the growth areas in the relationship, and then also point out the strength areas so that they can know where they need to, where they're doing well, and then when they need to go back to those areas, they know what those areas are.
And Dr. Don, some
Yes,
of those
ma'am.
things in particular, it's actually seven different categories. And
Okay.
so it talks about everything from where they have an opportunity to talk about or answer assessments about their communication,
Okay.
conflict resolution,
Oh, yes.
family and friends, personal finances, personal finances,
Oh, yes.
roles and relationship, sexual intimacy, and spiritual commitment. What is your commitment? What do you believe? What do I believe? Can we agree on that? And the same thing on all of those areas, there are questions that are asked each, as Pastor C has said, that basically there's an assessment, and actually it's a company that we use, and it's basically the test, the assessment. You can do it online, and I'm very careful not to call it a test because it is an assessment, because there's no pass or fail. But as Pastor said, it identifies your growth areas, so we'll know. Okay, we know we're good on finances, and we know we're good on our family and friends. We agree on those two things. However, there's some growth areas in how we communicate and how we manage conflict resolution, or how we feel about money. Do we love it? Do we not love it? Do we spend it? Do we waste it? And those types of things. And so putting all of those things together, again, it identifies things before you get married. So we can talk about these things. We can work on the growth areas. We can celebrate the strength areas and everything in between there. And so we usually ask couples that we coach to engage in this particular this assessment before we get married, and then we can work through those things. Sometimes we can work through them in 2 weeks. Sometimes it takes 6 weeks to basically identify and work on things.
It also helps to identify blind spots in the relationship that I may not recognize, before we were married, but that may come out later once we get married.
Oh, yes.
And it's like, oh gosh, I didn't realize I was dealing with that, or I didn't realize, or she said she didn't realize that I was like that. Yeah. So our job when we're going through that is to be an outside pair of eyes, to tell what we observe and to help others to see blind spots, and then, talk through them, work through them. And, one of the things we say often is differences are not damning, but they can actually, as long as we respect each other's differences, then we can go forward.
Okay. So we're not talking about what is your favorite color, right? And let me tell you, I cannot tell you, Carol's, how many people, and I love when couples come on and they talk about their marital problems, or they share with us the challenges they had before God healed their marriage, or they're sharing their powerful testimony about overcoming and pushing through divorce. All of them, I asked the same question: did you get premarital counseling? The answer is no. Even Christian couples, they're Christian. The answer was no. People get premarital counseling. I cannot tell you enough. As a single sister, I'm listening and I'm learning. This show is not just for you. It's for me and prayerfully married couples. We all can learn. So I love it. We got to do that. And I like that you touched on the blind spots. I love that. Now, if you could describe your spouse in one word, what would it be and why?
Let me go first.
Okay. I love that question.
There were, there are times, oftentimes that people, ask that question, or I just think about it on my own. And for my husband, I picked the word consistent just because it encompasses so much. My husband is very consistent in how he loves me, how he loves others, definitely how he loves God. Even he's consistent in his discipline. He's very what he puts his mind to, he's very disciplined. And for me, some of them are big things and some of them are simple things. But for me, like my husband does not eat French fries, not because he does not like them,
Yeah.
but he's just made a determination that there are a lot of things that I do like. And so to save a few calories and to help on my cholesterol, I'm just not going to eat French fries. So I can have a brownie after my dinner, or so I can have a piece of cheesecake.
Hey, this ain't no health show. Leave the French fries alone. Yeah, no, but go ahead. Yeah, seriously. Everything. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. So consistent would be the one of the words that I would identify him as.
Thank you,
that is great. And I didn't ask that for the couple last week, but I said I'm going to ask them. Pastor C, what is one word you could use to describe?
So one word that, and so I there was a bunch of words that came to my mind, but I want to tell you, in my mind and in my heart, the word that matters the most to me is a gift. And Yolanda is a gift to me. And I have always believed, even before we were married, when we were, by the way, we were high school sweethearts. So we've been together since she was 16 and I was 17. And we've never broken up. But the point I wanted to make is I even then believed that she was a gift to me from God, that God created her for me. God gave her to me. And so that really speaks to how I have to love her. I want to take care of gifts when people give them to you. You watch out for them, and you don't just handle them any kind of way. Now, let me also say that not only is she a gift to me, but people that know Yolanda, they just gravitate towards her. And she's a gift to so many other people. She's a gift to her family. Just so many people. So babe, you're a gift to me, and I just appreciate that. And I pray that I never treat her any less than the most important thing that God has blessed me with.
Why am I getting excited? Like, that's not even like we hadn't even got into 15 minutes. A gift. When your wife is a gift, or when your husband, you're not going to treat them any kind of way. Oh, Pastor, y'all, come on. Do you see why we have to bring marriage mentors on here? We have to bring seasoned couples. Let's get to this next question. Oh my goodness, Pastor, wonderful. Do y'all have a marriage relationship book? Because Pastor, you wrote the other book, but y'all haven't written a relationship book, have y'all yet?
No, not yet.
Okay. If God tells you,
Well, we do have a ministry called SIFT, or a movement called SIFT.
Okay.
And the acronym is CIFT. C stands for Communication and Conflict Resolution. I stands for Intimacy. F is for Finances. And T is for Trust. And so whenever we go through, and we have had a few conferences, and we always go through those elements because those are very essential elements to a healthy relationship. And that if we can get those elements right, because we'll never agree on everything. But if we have a healthy way of handling conflict, we can go forward. We won't always hear each other or always maybe speak the same language. But if we build our communication, then we're not disrespecting each other. Just like Babe said earlier, we may not see money the same way. But if we agree with what we're going to do with our money and maybe come to compromises on how we're going to handle it, then we're not fighting over money. And then, of course, trust is necessary in any relationship, and especially in the close marriage relationship.
And I like how you break that down, right, Babe? He broke that down, seriously. And they're not faking it here. And so let's talk, and let's have real talk. And thank you for everybody who is watching on StreamYard, listening online, listening through the app. If you do have a comment or question for the Carrolls, please put it in the chat, and they will be glad to answer as the Lord leads, just like we did last week, right? I mean, my goodness. But what would you say you found now? Because we have to have real talk. Couples they love the Lord, they come in, engage, they want the premarital counseling. That is great. What have you found? And without revealing any confidentiality, breaking confidentiality, of course, because there's some people thinking we can't ever get over that. We'll never walk down. What is one of the ugliest things you've ever heard, something that this couple thought they'd never overcome and they still ended up able to push through, walk down the aisle, have a healthy marriage without breaking confidentiality, of course?
Actually, this one, I'm going to just highlight on it a little bit and ask my husband to kind of take it through. And this particular couple, there are a couple of things as far as couples before marriage and walking down the aisles. Some things like the couples disclose right there at the, hi, Kenya, thank you for joining.
Yes, you did my part. I was just going to say thank you, Kenya. Thank you, co-host Carol. Do it, girl. That's how we do in the Dr. Dawn Show. Thank you, Kenya.
Okay. Okay, but there were a couple of couples. There was one couple in particular that we were sitting there and we were talking and discussing things. And there was information about the young man's background, her fiance, that he had a bankruptcy, a very serious bankruptcy that involved, them going forward, them being able to buy a home, them able to do, make a lot of choices as a result of, being able to purchase a car, even some things affect, where you work, because they check your credit on where you work. So that was one that was a kind of challenging. It was very challenging because that was something he had not disclosed to her prior to this time that we were, 3 or 4 weeks into preparing them for marriage. Yeah. And then there was one that was very impactful. And this couple, however, were already married. And then there was a situation, both Christian couples, love God, both influential in the community, both very impactful in their family and everything. And this man made a poor choice and was arrested and charged with indecency with a minor, with the intent to do whatever. And it incurred the results. It resulted in. What do you want to share?
A lot of obvious consequences. Yeah. But what happened was that the couple pulled together. The wife committed to the husband and said that I'm going to stick with you. This is what you did, but this is not who you are. We all make mistakes. And then they came together and they surrounded themselves with those that love them, those that are believers, and asked individuals, gave specific prayer requests. Okay, Cornelius and Yolanda, we want y'all to pray this for us. Dr. Don, we want you to pray this for us.
Oh, beautiful.
That actually brought a community that loved them in, because we know there's others that just want to talk about it, just want to bring you down. And so they brought the circle in and it's been what?
It's been probably 10 years now. And actually this couple, they're very good friends of ours. Okay. And it was serious to the point that, he had to register as a convicted felon. It was in the newspaper. He lost his job. It was very, very challenging for them. But as Pastor C has said, that they made an agreement. His wife decided, for better or for worse, and she made a decision that, and that's one of the things that she says even now. And they do actually go around, they tell their story. Amen. And everything. But she said, you are what you did is not who you are. And so she was able to separate the two. And again, as people of faith, they actually, as Pastor C has said, they called on the saints, people who love them. And again, when challenges come like that in marriages, and many marriages have them, you want to be sure to surround yourself with people that are going to, lift you up, support you, not, go behind your back and basically, talk about and share with no intent to help you get through this. So, and again, your commitment to the commitment that you made. You made a commitment to God. You made a commitment for better or for worse. And Cornelius and I, we agree and we believe that anything that has been misaligned can be realigned. Anything that has been misaligned can be realigned. Now, there have to be two people willing to do that, to work on that alignment. So, you know, yeah, there are divorces, there are deal breakers, there are separations and things like that. But those things happen when two people don't make the decision. But, you know, some of it is for good reason, but two people.
Well,
let me say this. What Pastor C, you were saying something?
No, I was just going to say that a lot of times people will break up because of what they call irreconcilable differences. Irreconcilable differences. But basically what has happened is she decided and I decided not to reconcile. But if we decide, okay, what do we have to do? Do we have to go to counseling? Do I have to apologize? Do I have to, you know,
make some total changes?
That's right.
Let some friends go. Give you full access to my cell phone. You know, so it all comes down to a question of how important is the marriage to you, and where do you decide that it fits in the rest of your life? And so if I elevate that and she sees evidence of that, then she's more likely to walk with me or vice versa.
Right.
So it's very important.
And let me say this. Let's be honest about some of the stuff that is going on, even with kingdom couples. Carnisha, we were bragging on you, darling. Thank you for coordinating this. God bless you, girl. She better be on here. I mean, come on. I mean, hello. No, but there's some ugly stuff going on with kingdom couples. Sex addiction. You're talking about with a minor.
Sure.
You're talking about drug addiction, alcoholism, all these things that we have to address, that God can heal if you submit. So thank you very much for sharing that. It's not just she spends too much money kind of stuff. You're talking, because Miss Yolanda, Dr. Yolanda, as a life coach, you all coach, you know, coaching pastors, we cannot judge.
Right. That's right.
And even as Christians, higher than that, if a couple comes to you and says he's dealing with sex addiction, whatever, we can't say, well, and they're friends of yours. Y'all don't bring it up at dinner every week. You see what I'm saying? You forgive, and we got to pray. I love that. The plan of action has to be prayer around that. Now let's switch gears and talk about you all. Because it's easy, you know, people see you all, oh my gosh, they've been married for what, 49 years, 2 days, 3 months, 27 hours, right? And it's so easy for them. They look like they have it all together. Give us a challenge you all had to push through that was just major for you guys and how you pushed through. Let's talk about that.
I think probably one of the things, and I think there are a couple, we may even speak about changing from who we were to who we are. But one of the things is that we were both raised very differently. And I took on the attitude of kind of like, this is just who I am. And I had some unresolved or some issues that I brought from the 14-year-old girl, just brought her into my relationships. And one of those was anger. And my dad, who I love dearly and miss dearly, who passed away a couple of years ago, but he had a very strong personality and very once he made a decision, be it bad or good, he was very stern and everything about that. And one of the things that my mother would say to me often, and my mother too, she loves me, adores me, and is a great mother. However, one of the things she would say to me all the time is that you don't look like your daddy, but you act like him. And she would say that to me all the time. And that allowed me to own, you know, being short fused. It owned being more aggressive when it was not necessary, not totally necessary. So as we work through our marriage, my husband was supportive. You know, again, Holy Spirit, you know, again, changed me and, you know, fashioned me in a way that I would be a suitable helpmeet to him. But I did, and still, you know, God is growing me with, you know, short fuse and a temper that, God talks about,
Yes,
be
yes.
angry and sin not. And it's been many years ago, but my anger was to a part that it did cause me to sin, even if it was just not giving my husband the total peace and comfort
Yes.
that he deserves. So I would say my temper, or my attitude, which I thank God that he has healed me and healing me of that. But I would think that would be one of mine.
My goodness, so many nuggets in that. I mean, because Yolanda looks so big. And that's why I ask people, who were you before? It's easy for people to see us now, but that's why we've got to. Oh, thank you, Dr. Yolanda. Pastor Carroll, you?
Yes, I would share. I have two, but one is going to be obvious. The other one maybe not so. But when I went through cancer, was one of the most difficult times in our lives. The way that I try to care for my family and cover my family, when I had cancer, everything flipped. Everybody had to take care of me. Everybody had to be there for me. Everybody had to do, because I'm kind of the giver, if you will, and it all had to flip around. And so that was a very difficult time for us. And especially, when you say the word cancer, that takes the breath out of everybody. And especially, for how my wife had to care for me and what it did for her. But I thank God that he brought us through. We had our faith grew, and we began, our prayer life grew. And here we are 8 years later, and I'm still cancer free, and thanking God every day. So that's a challenge. But when we stand before 100 people or 200 people at the wedding ceremony, it says for richer, for poor, in sickness and in health. And people just go right on through that, never really thinking about. But are we really talking about?
That's not in the vows at all either. It's like you're my peace, you're my love, forever together. All that.
And so that was a big one. And by the way, you just kind of touched on something. I was to say this: when we do premarital coaching, we go through the vows early on in the process, so that the couple can know what the expectations are. And we can talk about that, or we can try to, prepare them for that. So that's important.
Now, if their vows don't include God, do you say, well, where is,
No.
do they recite the traditional vows, or what if they write their own vows? Do you weigh in on that or give any advice on that? Like, hey, there's no God at the center of these vows. Did you think about that? How do you all handle those situations?
Yeah, we always ask if they want to write their own vows. We always want to see them first and agree with them. And we will often coach them about, remember, this is to God, not only just to each other, but it's to God who is the glue, as the scripture teaches. So where's he in this? And so, and then there have been cases when we've done the traditional vows and then said, now the couple has agreed that they've written some things they want to share with each other. And then we allow that, but we really try to stick with, the traditional vows or a portion of that, or include the spirit of what that is, shall I say.
Right. Because we are a God-centered couple and a God-centered pastors. God has made it so that we have not had to refuse a couple that were not God, did not include God in their relationship. Right. So God, he's made it so that we wouldn't have to refuse a couple for that. However, we are, we're a godly couple, godly pastors, and we teach and preach godly principles.
That's good. And I just asked that because, and that's where the guidance, not that you're judging them, but you're giving them, hey, we just want to give you a little insight here. There's no, Kenya says, that's so good, with her hands on her hips in that picture. She means it. She means it. That's so good. I love that. Now, let's talk about, and let's one of the couples shared, a sister shared, and you all knew this question was coming. Let's talk prenuptial agreements. because a sister shared during one of the Love Lounge shows that we did here. She shared, and people are just so transparent and share. She was married for 27 years and they got a divorce. He wasn't trying to change, wasn't trying to go to counseling, wasn't trying to do better. And she said, for the next marriage, I'm thinking of a prenup. We gave different perspectives, of course, Christian perspective, right? And what do you all think about prenup? Because I know it's come up.
Well, let me jump in there, right?
Okay.
One of the things that, again, as husband mentioned earlier, one of the movement that we teach and the principles are CIFT, C-I-F-T, communication and conflict resolution, intimacy, finances, and trust. And this is our personal opinion of that. Yeah. And again, I think the young lady you speak of, her, I mean, she's going into her next, she's going into her next experience with an experience that makes her make that decision. However, one of the things that I'm challenged with when about prenuptial agreements, that indicates that you don't fully trust that person. And so with the even if it's just in the back of your mind, if you're marrying someone that you don't trust or you can't trust, then that may be something you may want to think about a little longer, reconsider, those types of things. So marrying someone that you don't trust may be a red flag to if we want to do this.
Right. And so we don't we're not just going through the motions in premarital coaching. We are really trying to help individuals to walk out the vision for marriage that God gave. And what did he say in the second chapter of Genesis? The husband shall leave his father and mother, and the two shall become one. And so if we're going to become one, we're one except for this, what I have stashed over here. That doesn't really support that according to the Bible.
Wow.
So we can't tell a person what legally they ought to do. But we can tell them what the Bible says. And so I mean, again, we try to show them, and as Babe said, we're not saying, okay, y'all have a good marriage until y'all decide to do something else. No, we're trying to help them to do till death do us part. So
that's good, Yolanda, what you said. It was all I ask, and different couples say it's different for each situation. But I was doing research and a pastor said, check your motives. He said, if your motives is because this is mine and I want to control you, then that's not right. And you shouldn't be getting married. But if when you die, you want an endowment set up, you want all of this set, it's other reasons beside this is my money. It's protecting things. So when you pass, things are carried on. Yeah. So it's just, so I asked the question, the Dr. Dawn.
Right.
I'm right now.
Yeah.
There are things I want done. I want set up. We have to protect things, but I'm praying on it.
Right.
Praying on it. Now, if I don't trust you, I'm not even going to marry you. That's my motives are wrong. But so it's interesting. And again, I will have to pray on that. But last week I said, or a couple of weeks ago, I said, I'm 99.9% sure that we're going to have one. Because we got things going on. But again, I'm not in love right now. I'm not, you see what I'm saying? I'm speaking from a woman of God, but I'm a single woman of God. I'm not in love and the Lord, and I haven't had premarital, even though I'm a life coach. I listen, I'm going to get premarital counseling. We're going to have premarital counseling and the Lord will lead me.
Absolutely.
And if that 1%, he turn it around.
Absolutely.
Right. But I just ask, and I'm being honest about that because I don't think I'm the only successful driven you know what I mean? So I think it's something we all do. It needs to be on the table and talking it through with you all, our objective parties. It'll give us something to think about, godly principles.
Absolutely.
But if I don't trust you, I'm not going to marry you. That's ridiculous. But if I want it set up, then for an endowment, then that's different. But go ahead, Pastor.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so everything you just said, I'm trusting my wife if I go before her to
Yeah.
do those things,
Yeah.
to set those things up, or to, help my wishes go forward. And that's, I don't think anything is wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
But if it, again, as I said, if it's just so that if something happens, I'm going to take all my toys and go home.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, in a bad way that,
Mm-hmm.
you just stuck like Chuck, that's a whole nother situation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was, I just love that question, because that is something Christians, it's going to come
really
up. It's going to come up.
A really good one.
And thank you all for answering that. And everybody has different perspectives. So it's no judgment, just real.
Sure.
But again, I like, Pastor, you take us back to the Bible.
Right.
not to a reality TV show. But anyway, let's get back to this. Now, I want you all, let's talk about, and I think this is, let's talk about generational curses. Because you have many, Dr. Yolanda and Pastor C, who are unknowingly, they're carrying generational curses, and they're doing what they know, right? How does one recognize whether or not they're in a healthy relationship? Just because, okay, I've had 5 boyfriends this month, that's still not a wake-up call, right? If they haven't had a godly home and they've been raised in that, how do they discover what a healthy relationship is?
I'm going to jump in a little bit, and again, I think this one I will pass on to Pastor C. However, I think when it comes to generational curses, I also think that we need to be real intentional about a particular word. A lot of times, it's generational behavior, because
thank you.
A lot of things that we do or that happen is because we've seen that happen before, and it was okay, or we made it. My daddy went to jail a lot of times, but we were never homeless. Or my mother wasn't able to keep a job. However, we made it. Or never. I didn't choose. My mother had a lot of husbands or a lot of boyfriends, and she's 67 now, and she's doing okay. Or my older brother had businesses that failed, and the next person did. So a lot of times it's generational behavior. And so in answer to your question is basically look at the facts. Look at again, the phrase that goes, that it talks about, how do you recognize stupidity, or how do you recognize those types of things? But basically doing the same thing and expecting different results.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So what Babe covered a lot of it, but we encourage couples to observe the family dynamic that that the person is coming from, because that will often point to what has become acceptable in their eyes. And so if that's what I grew up around, then why shouldn't I be able to do it, or why shouldn't I expect that?
That's right.
The other thing is we encourage, especially I encourage the men to lead their families in prayer. And so, now we've got we're building a spiritual bond, and that spiritual bond will often reveal certain things. And when those things are revealed, now we can begin to deal with them. Now, one other thing that I would like to say is we encourage couples to observe the seasons of a person's life. Now, I'm not just saying go through summer, winter, spring, and fall.
Yes.
But it could be go through, watch them when they go through their anger periods, watch them through their time of prosperity, watch them through their quiet times,
yes,
and watch them when they're sick, watch them,
when their mother is dying.
And so that will reveal some things about them when they go through those seasons of life, which invariably are going to happen. And so what you observe through there will point to some things that you can say either, yes, I can deal with that, or no, I can't. Because you can always, just because you're dating someone doesn't mean that, we encourage people to date people they're looking to marry. Okay, we do. But you can decide, what this is not going to work out for me, or this is not who God has for me.
That's right.
And so
even if he's a Christian or she's a Christian.
Right. Absolutely. Right. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So we encourage to see the seasons of a person's life, observe them in those seasons, and ask, hey, can I deal with that? Or maybe God is bringing me into their life to help balance one of those elements, or to bring harmony to one of those elements. That's and I bet you want to talk about harmony.
I think we've got.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
No. Go ahead. I want to hear about the harmony.
Okay. One of the things that we talk about, and I encourage people, that people always say, we need balance, we need balance, we need the scale to be just like this or just like that. Yeah. And one of the things that I found is, again, I'm a words person, and balance, oftentimes, we're looking for the things just right. And in a marriage or in a relationship, there is no 50-50. There is no such thing as 50-50, because there'll always be times when, he's given 80% and I'm giving 20. There'll be times when actually we are kind of harmonious. Yeah. And so I use the word harmony or harmonious because, like, I think I've said this when Dr. Don has experienced us before, given us an opportunity before. But when you think of harmony, you think of a music or an orchestra or a band. And see, with harmony, sometimes you hear one instrument louder than the other. So sometimes you hear the horns more, or the strings more, or the bass, or the drums. And so in relationship, it's kind of like that. And we need to focus on what needs us the most at the time to get harmony versus balance, because it's just going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult because both of we weigh differently. I weigh 160, he weighs 210. So, did I just say I weigh?
I was just thinking to myself, that is love, honey. Y'all done forgot where you were. See, that is, hey, it's good to keep it on the French fries. That's why he has the no French fries, he get cheesecake. That's a healthy weight. Go on.
But harmony. Let's try to work toward harmony.
That's wonderful. I mean, and I love when people just feel so comfortable. You about to give us your social security number? Yeah. But I love that. Now, Pastor C, I want to hear from you first, and then you, Dr. Yolanda. When it comes to dating, yes, you should be dating someone who you see as that life partner. That, what did you say, Dr. Yolanda? The forever.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the questions that we should be asking in dating versus what we ask. Yes, you ask, what's your 5-year plan? All of those things. But let's talk about some questions we should be asking when dating someone to help us get to before the premarital counseling and all that.
Yeah. So I do believe that we should have a vision for the marriage we're trying to build. Okay. Is it going to be a godly marriage? Is it going to be, are we going to have children? Are we going to, here's a real story that we did have. One of the questions we do ask is, can you follow this gentleman that you are sitting across from? Because 95% of who he will be 10 years from now is sitting right here, right now. 95%. He might change 5%. But most of us don't make super dramatic changes. Yeah. So when you marry that person, so
the question would be, and she's asking physically, what is the question? And so your question would be to her is, can you follow me the way I am right now? Can you follow me?
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. The way I am.
You get sometime. What's the responses you get sometimes?
We have occasionally.
Well, twice we've had, and so one of the way we actually ask the question to the couple is, if Cornelius stays just the way he is, and he does not change, and he might, but if he continues to make decisions like he does, or he continues to pick you up late, or if it's a thing for you, if he continues to talk stronger than you're accustomed to talking to, if he stays just like he is today, because this is we've got the representative right now, the real person is coming through the door after next week, something like that. Right. But if he stays just like he is, can you do that for your forever life? And so we've been doing this since 98. So 25 years, something like that. And we've had two in particular times where the woman, both times the woman said, no, I can't. And they didn't come back. So one of the questions would be from the man is, can you follow me? And again, the woman, my question would be to the person I'm dating or the person two things. I always tell women and my daughters and everybody, I mean, don't go on another date with someone that you can't see yourself with in the long term.
Absolutely.
I mean, don't go on a date, even if you're not looking, quote unquote, to get married, but you're looking to be in a forever relationship. You haven't even said marriage. Well, don't. There's no reason to go on another date with someone that you can't see yourself with long term, and you'll know that after spending 3 hours together.
Absolutely, I think. And with the phone conversation, if you're not even gelling over the phone. You know, I mean, now there's opposites attract, right? We've all heard that, but sometimes there are the red flags there. You don't need to, well, you know, I don't think I want to go out on a date. I'm not interested, you know. And then Kenya, she says, listen, with 5 ends, why waste time? I love that. Right. Don't waste time. Don't waste their time and don't waste your time.
Right.
If you don't want kids and he has 2 and you know you're not going to be a good bonus mom, you don't even have a turtle. You can't even stand. That's not fair to him, not fair to the kids.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, this is a question I have as well, and I want to know from you. This is a question I think people should be asking and pay attention to. You all let me know what you think. How about let's start asking, well, do you have a good relationship with your father? If that brother says, well, my father really wasn't around, well, what kind of single mother did he have?
Absolutely.
You know, or if she said, well, I never met my dad. Women learn how men should treat us with the relationship we have with our father, or if we had a toxic relationship with our father. These things are going to be red flags too. They may not be bad people, but they're going to have issues communicating. It's something you're going to have to work through. So I think if we ask questions like that, we're thinking we should be just, so those get deep, because if we're on a date, I don't have time to ask you, what's your favorite color? What kind of car do you want in 5 years? No, we're gonna let's really ask some questions. And if they get offended,
maybe you found out.
Ask it like I'm talking to you right now. It'll be in a softer, more, you know. But we need to ask get down to those kind of questions. You all, what do you want to say on that?
Absolutely. That's one of the things when we talk about the assessment that we do, the prepare assessment. And one of the things that we talk about is your family of origin. You know, where are you in the birth role? Or, you know, he and I both are the oldest of our siblings. You know,
Me too.
Yeah. So where do you fall in that? And that's going to, hey, Lady Val, how are you?
We were talking about you in a good way. Yeah.
But, you know, questions like, where do you where do you fall in that position, in your birth position? Because that's going to even talk about or lead you to their leadership qualities and those types of things. And again, as husband said, is that, you know, what's your vision for your life? Do you want, if you think they should be able to tell you in 1 minute what their their elevator speech for their vision for their lives, something as, you know, simple as I want to be healthy, I want to be married, I want to build a career, I want to, you know, be a great father, I want to retire and, you know, travel around the world with you before old, sick, and broke.
Yeah. We love you too, Lady Val. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, Dr. Yolanda. That's good. Or Pastor.
No, I think she's absolutely right. So we need to ask those questions. And then I would also think we would need to address the question of love. What is love to you?
Oh, yes. Wonderful.
When you say, when you say, I love you, what are you really saying?
That's right.
You know, and so what's because if I love you just means you look really so good that I just, I want to be with you.
Yeah.
But then, we get to the house and you kick your shoes off, then that's a whole nother thing. So
Yeah.
is it just beauty in the eye, visual love, or is it deeper than that? And one of the things that I believe that love is sacrificial, is unconditional, and it serves the other's best good. And so I'm
go
willing.
ahead, Pastor. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm willing to love my wife unconditionally. I'm willing to love her sacrificially, and I'm willing to do what's in her best interest. So that, to me, is the kind of love that I believe that the Bible teaches. So I didn't, it wasn't, I didn't come up with that by myself.
No,
Yeah.
we always have to go back to the Bible.
Right.
Right. Lady Val says such profound wisdom.
Awesome. Thank you.
And thank you, Lady Val, for tuning in. Now, Kenya, let's read her comment, and I want to know Pastor C and Dr. Yolanda. Very good, Kenya. Love this. These comments, y'all. She said, "Get to the substance, because this is how we avoid building trauma bonds, confusing pain as a connection." My goodness.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Kenya. Powerful. What do y'all have to say on that?
Yes. People will, what's the expression? Birds of a feather flock together.
Yes.
Individuals who have been hurt others. And so we want to make sure that we're not, that we're trying to bring two healthy people together rather than two broken people together. Just because you're broken, I'm broken, so let's just get together. We can share each other's pain, or we can connect with each other. Or I know how you feel, but then we begin to inflict that upon each other, and then we don't go any further. So I think that's important. So let me add one more question for the men.
Absolutely.
And my question is this: am I building capacity? Okay, that's what I'm asking. Your statement says, "Are you ready for marriage?" As men, are we building capacity? Because I know this is a real thing, because I've heard it a lot of times. Many men will say, "I don't want to get married yet because I need to get my finances together." Okay. And I know a lot of women will say, "Oh, well, no, that's not a good reason. We can work together and that's fine." But here's what I want to say. As a man, am I building the capacity to cover you? Am I building the capacity to care for you? Am I building the capacity to love you? And so there's a question that I need to be asking myself. And before I ask her to marry me, have I built sufficient capacity to care for her? Why does all that matter? Because some days she's going to have to help me. Some days I'm going to have to help her. But if my bowl is broken and her bowl is broken, we got nothing. But if her bowl is broken and I got a little extra capacity, then I can help carry for both of us until such a time that she's good, and then she can help carry when my bowl is broken. So by that, I'm saying, am I building capacity? In other words, this is why sometimes men should, want to make sure they're building a financial capacity. This is why we should be willing to cover our mates. This should be why I should want to take care of my body so that I can be strong enough and healthy enough such that I'm not a drag on the marriage.
Oh, come on.
And on and on. So, just think about that a little bit. Are we building sufficient capacity? Because the scripture says, "He who finds a wife has found a good thing." So it says that the wife already has a capacity that I can tap into. So that's what I think is very important. And so I think individuals should ask themselves, am I building sufficient capacity to carry into the marriage?
And I like that. And women, I want you to listen to what a man is saying. Because sometimes if Dr. Dawn tells them, I'm a woman, Dr. Yolanda can tell you. But if a man is telling you, ladies, because sometimes we'll fix that later. No. Let him capacity. Because you're going to be crying when financial times come, hard times come. If he's saying, let me get this bankruptcy thing clear. Let me get this situation right. Let me make a little more money because I want to have the capacity to take care of you. Let him do that. It's not, it doesn't mean there's nothing wrong with waiting to get those things in order. And also let's talk about this. I want to hear from you, Dr. Yolanda, on Lady Val's comment. She says, and how strong is his spiritual foundation?
Absolutely.
Amen. Talk about it, Dr.
Absolutely.
Yolanda.
Absolutely, and that's one of the things that the assessment it asks about his spiritual commitment. You know, what role do you play as a man of God? What do you believe about how you cover your family? So yes, that's a question I need to know is what do you think your role as a man of God, as my husband, as a potential father to our children, or potential son to my mother, because you marry, not when you marry me, you marry my family. And so yeah, absolutely, that how strong your spiritual commitment is it should be very, very important into the relationship. And as Pastor C said, that how you treat, how you feel about God, it's going to show up in how you treat. It's going to show up in how you treat your mother, how you treat your sisters, how you treat your daughters, how you treat your wife. And so absolutely, that has to be important. And that's where many times, actually, there are two couples that we've been worked with before, and they had different religious convictions. Yeah. And so that has been a challenge, that they have not been able to get married even yet, because it is so important to her that she is Christian, and it is important to him. He's not a practicing Muslim, but she is so important to her that I marry a man of God, and I have a man of God covering me. That's and his is like, okay, I believe there is a God. However, it's okay. His thing is, well, you just, cover us with the God piece. And that's not okay.
If you know different faiths, the man, you can say that, but if he's not a practicing one, but a practicing Muslim, that ain't gonna happen. Their kids are gonna be Muslim. They're, and I'm not talking again. We're just saying what the truth is. You have to understand the different faiths. So if you want a strong man of God, why are you aligning yourself?
Absolutely.
Even though he's fine, I've been there, right? Attractive, all of that. And I even met a man who loved God, but he didn't believe in tithing, because the pastor's gonna. I can't put my money with that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We have to be on the same page at tithing. I can't be tithing and you not. We've got to be on the same page. Little things that the carols are going to help bring out.
Sure,
my goodness, powerful. Now, as we end this powerful, powerful time with you beautiful people, because Pastor Carroll, he puts his hand over and looks like he wants to kiss her on the cheek. Just loves her. Let's end it with this. Pastor C, I want to hear from you first. Final comments to the men, and then Dr. Yolanda, final comments to the women about men.
So I think that the scripture says that we should lead our families. God gives us headship, but that's not bossship. And there is a difference between the two. Many men want to, and maybe a generation or two back, bossship was what was given, but that's not really what God is saying. So we have to be careful that we are giving headship. And I like to put it this way. If I want to be a king of my home, then I really need to think about, what do kings do? Kings don't just sit back and just, wear beautiful robes.
Right.
But kings provide for those that are for their subjects.
Right. Yeah.
Kings provide what? Protection. Kings provide resources. Kings provide, even government or what have you, for their resource, for those that belong to them. And so I need to make sure that if I want to be calling myself a king or seen as a king, that I will provide protection, and not just physical protection.
That's right.
Because a lot want to cover that, but not want to cover the emotional or other aspects of protection that need to be given. And so, I just think that that's one thing as men that we ought to think about. And then, of course, to me, it's not simple, but it is very important that we all need something bigger than us to follow. That's why you hear us keep coming back to the word, because God created marriage. God ordained marriage before jobs, before governments, before all of that. So for me, marriage is foundational of who God made us to be. And so if want to live a godly life, and we want the blessings that come with that. We ought to align ourselves with that.
Absolutely. You,
and
Dr. Yolanda?
I think my advice or my word to women who are trusting God for their forever person, to already know already in your knower that you're more than enough. Already know that you don't you don't need a man or a husband to complete you. So it's not half and become a whole. It's we become one, but you have to be one already. You have to, and this is not regular math. You know, in marriage or in relationships, 1 + 1 = 1.
Right.
And so one of the things we want to know that, and then we also want to know that that you're already a wife. You're already a wife. So start doing those wife things. I mean, literally prepare. If you're going to be a wife that cooks, learn to cook. If you're going to be a wife that's an organizer and wants to know that God is sending your forever person that will be a businessman or on their own business, and your gift is administration, go ahead and start administrating. Start doing those things. And then the other part to it is, and this is a new time, a new age, and everything. And so, and certainly the word does say, you know, he who finds a wife finds a good thing. And I know we sling that around a lot. However, also, you know, the Bible speaks about the greatest of these things are love, and that God so loved the world. And so there are different ways for us to draw our forever partner through love. And one of those things is women have to be okay with sharing with those we love, those that are important to us, that we're trusting God now for my mate. So my best friend who is God, she's trusting God. She's a widow and she's trusting God, you know, for her forever partner now. And so you say that, you say that to your best friend and say, hey, I'm trusting, like Lady Val is saying right there, strive to be a suitable mate. Go ahead and get ready to be that suitable mate. But also tell those you love that I'm trusting God for my suitable mate. Do you know, or is Holy Spirit showing you someone for me? Is, you know, what does that look like for me? Because God is going to surround you with people that love you. And so women now in this time, we have to be okay with sharing that we're preparing to be a wife. But I'm also calling into my Success 7 to help me or to support me as I walk this thing out in preparing to be a wife.
Oh, yes. Let me read Kenya's comment. She says that part, being groomed by God. And I have even shared, and I'll share it here as well, you guys, that I do. Everybody knows I work quite a bit, right? Dr. Don I'm walking in the calling. But I prepare myself mentally, right? If I'm working on something, I'm like, man, I'm praying for a husband, but I can't work like this when I'm married. I'm going to have to ask my husband, what does he think about me taking this opportunity? So mentally, I am preparing. I can't be on a book tour for 6 months because this is my big break. And I know no. We got to prepare ourselves. So I just love that. And Lady Val gives applause. What a way to end the show. Now, give us your contact information if people want counseling. Do they have to be a member of the church?
No, they do not.
Okay.
And so we are, you can reach us on all social media outlets. I am YK Carroll. He is Cornelius Carroll. His website is cornelius.carroll.com. Is that what it is?
CorneliusCarroll.com.
CorneliusCarroll.com. So, and again, we're available on all social media avenues. And then, of course, you know, if you hit me up, or again, our daughter who supports us, Cornisha, at her email is ccarnisha@gmail.com, and so she can get us. But we're open. We're, you know, we're old school. So hey, if you see me in the grocery store and say, hey, can we talk? We're available.
She will. They will. Yeah, we saved them some gas money tonight. I'm saving all my gas money. Don't we love StreamYard? Yeah.
Yes.
I'm telling you. I want to say thank you to the Carrolls. Marriage Masterclass Part 2, another group, Marriage Mentors. I'm going to refer to y'all as that as well. God bless you. Let me read this last comment. I love old school. Ain't nothing wrong with old school.
Right.
That's why we got all these problems now. Some new things have crept in.
Right.
Yeah.
And like Lady Val says, all the enemy needs is a crack. Old school, no. Old school, the word of God. That's what I get. If it doesn't bring you back to the Bible, is that what you need to be doing? Carol's, Carnisha, I want to say God bless you. Thank you. This won't be their last time. I tell you, we love them. So God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dawn, for all you do.
Thank you. God bless y'all. Have a good one.
All right.